CSL Primetime is brought to you by Jovova Sports Uniforms and Apparel. Jovova, giving you sports experience for a lifetime. Hey folks, I'm Alex Bastiavansky. This is Jovova CSL Primetime. Welcome. Due to a game postponement in Milton Friday evening, we're a little later on highlights today, but we've still got 3 games to catch up on. Jason DeThomas is off this week, but guest analyst Michael Hackett is going to join me here in the studio to break down games that did take place. And we'll have a feature story on player Adis Sesic of Scarborough. But first, Jovova game highlights. And you know, going an entire season undefeated is one of the rarest accomplishments in sports. But that's exactly what York Region had designs on doing this year. Through 11 games, they had only 2 ties as a blemish on their record. And heck, York was the last CSL team to actually go undefeated just 2 seasons ago. They accomplished that feat. On Sunday night, though, Scarborough put an end to that dream in a thrilling encounter from St. Joan of Arc. Game highlights now brought to you by Jovova Sports Uniforms and Apparel. Jovova, giving you sports experience for a lifetime. It was a battle of first versus second. Scarborough has been very strong as of late. York looking to extend its unbeaten streak to 12 games, but Scarborough tested them early and often. 10 minutes in, Adis Sesic, dangerous all game. Robbed there, though, by Emmanuel Emiltonis. Imbadikura wasn't to be outdone at the other end. Off the free kick and the point-blank header, great stop. Then it's Kirill Dimitrov fighting off the coverage. Emiltonis making the save from the tough angle there. Scarborough looked fluid on Sunday. Sesic, with a nice dummy play, takes the return feed again. Just wide, though. Alexander Stoljanovski has 5 goals on the year for York. Trying for 6 here, but Slavko Kadrachi gets back in time to make the nice defensive stop. Then it's Dimitrov feeding the streaking Alex Stojilkovic the other way. Just too much on the shot, though, and over the net it goes. Just watch Scarborough's ball movement here. Absolutely gorgeous. It's a Sesic to Ilyev to Dimitrov, who tattoos it. It would have been a beautiful goal, but Emiltonis tips it just over the bar, and then more great ball movement. Sesic to Kostarov, to Orlovsky out front, but flies just over top of the bar. Second half, York begins to press. David Guzman, golden chance out front. Hakira right there to make the monster save. Those seconds later, he's going to repeat the heroics. This time against Stojanovski as Hakira gets down to make the nice stop. There it is. Great stop by the Scarborough keeper. Seconds later, back and forth. Orlovsky with the free kick from 22 yards out. More great goalkeeping by Emiltonis. Nothing he could do about this, though. 85th minute, Orlovsky denied. Sesic right there to pounce on the rebound, and that turned out to be all they needed on this day. So, Scarborough slays the Giants. They hand York their first loss of the season in thrilling fashion Sunday evening. Great back and forth game. York's undefeated streak ends at 11 games. Well, we've been enduring an ongoing heat wave here in Southern Ontario over the past few weeks. Great for hitting the beach, not so much for the soccer pitch, though. And with temperatures on the field hitting about 40 degrees last Friday, Serbia and Hamilton did their best to muster some offense, but it was a sluggish game, to say the least. And nobody really felt like running last Friday, and can you really blame them? But Hamilton nearly gets burned early on for being complacent as they give it up. Milo Sapanovic hammers it, but right at keeper Adrian Becic. Milos Lubenovic then taking the nice through ball here, but again, Becic is there as he sprawls to make the nice save. A rare Hamilton chance here as Igor Kramar saunters in, tries his luck from 15 yards. Goran Skaric all over that one to make the save. Second half, Georgi Josic has been on fire lately. He hammers it from 20 yards. Becic again with the save, and then Miroslav Jovanovic whiffs on the freebie out front. Ouch. Just before full time, Filip Vlasic gives it a go from about 15 yards, slides it just wide of the goal post, though. Not the greatest game for highlights. 0-0 it finished up. But as Milo Sapanovic explained after the game, the stifling conditions certainly had an effect on the play.
The game was tough. The weather played a big role in the game today. As you can see, it was like plus 40 today. Both teams played pretty tough. The result was 0-0. We made a couple of chances more than them, but we didn't capitalize, and we're moving on.
Okay, just before we go to break, let's take a look at the CSL's top scorers, brought to you by the York Region Shooters Academy. Train with the professionals. head to YorkRegionShooters.com for more information as we take a look at the leaders. Ivliev still in the lead with 9, followed closely by Richard West and then Smagic in third with 7 goals, and a 4-way tie for fourth. Stefan Vukovic, Drazen Vukovic, no relation. Alex Stojilkovic and Adis Sesic, all with 6 goals. Welcome back to Jevova CSL Primetime. Toronto Atomic has looked fantastic recently, coming up with big results against 2 of the CSL's top teams in York Region and Scarborough, respectively. And that vaulted Atomic into 3rd place in the standings, and they were looking to continue their hot play against struggling Brantford last weekend. But while the Galaxy offense continued to sputter defensively, they were able to come up with a stellar effort to stymie Toronto. Another game played in 40-degree heat, another game lacking many quality scoring chances. Early on, Atomic tries to penetrate. They try it from well out, but can't even get it through the Brantford defensive box there. And then it's Stanislav Katana turning on the Jets for Atomic, and I mean turning on the Jets. This guy's got some speed, going for a nice run here. He feeds it back for Andrei Dankiv, but all that worked for nothing as his shot ends up floating harmlessly wide of the net. Harris Redzepi was a busy man on Friday, tries to do it all himself here, right into the waiting arms of Vasil Shupuk, though Redzepi and Shupuk would tangle later, trust me. One of the game's best chances come courtesy of a near own goal. Roman Sanko crosses, but deflected just wide by the Brantford player. Ensuing corner kick, Terry Dunfield knows he should have done better with the free header out front there, and his reaction says it all. But then it's Dunfield setting up Romanchenko, who absolutely tattoos this shot from 25 yards out. Would have been the goal of the week, but alas, off the post it rings. Brantford with the free kick in the 38th minute. It ping-pongs back to Stefan Vukovic, but he slams it just wide of the net. And then it's Vukovic, always dangerous, just over top of the net. This time it goes, though. Second half of play, and things got a bit frisky. It looks like Vasil Shupuk actually kind of slides into Harris Redzepi on the wet turf here. Redzepi may have clipped him. Shupuk doesn't like it, though. The little chest bump. Redzepi reacts like he's been shot, although he is about 6 inches shorter. Not really a fair fight. Cooler heads would prevail. 74th minute, Dunfield floats a free kick in that keeper Luka Besinic misjudges, but Atomic just can't knock it home. And then finally, dying second, Stefan Vukovic on the run. It looked like they were going in slow motion in this game, seriously. Must have been the 40-degree heat. Mercifully, this ended in a 0-0 draw. I think both squads were happy to just get it over with, get a single point, and take an ice-cold shower. Atomic now actually unbeaten in its last 3 contests, and that takes us into the league table. Let's see where all the teams currently sit. York on top still, of course. They did pick up their first loss of the year, though, to Scarborough, who's now in second, Toronto Atomic, Serbia, FC Ukraine, Hamilton City, Brantford Galaxy in 7th place now, and Milton in 8th. Welcome back to Jevova CSL Primetime. Alex Bastiavansky joined in the studio by Michael Hackett. Now, Jason DeThomas is not here this week, so Mike used to play soccer back in England and is a follower of the CSL. Is going to join us this week. Welcome to the studio, sir.
Thanks very much, Alex.
And joining us on a great week. What a bunch of fantastic games that was.
Totally.
Yeah, no, we're being a
little
little sarcastic, obviously. We had one fantastic game, but It's tough when you're playing in 40-degree weather on the field. You heard what Milos Epanovic said. Basically, that kind of summed up the Serbia-Hamilton game, didn't it?
Yeah, look, I get it. I've been there. It's really difficult to play football in 40 degrees plus. You're sweating buckets, and frankly, you're not going to get much movement either on or off the ball.
Yeah.
You're not going to see 50-yard runs.
Yeah.
Because they might do the 50, but they can't get the 50 back.
Yeah.
It's basically.
Hence a lot of shots from the outside, like what we saw, right? There wasn't much from in close. A lot of the shots attempts were from the outside.
Absolutely. When it's 40 degrees plus, I don't want to go to a picnic, let alone play 90 minutes on a football pitch.
Serbia definitely the busier of the two teams on the day. Hamilton, they're just not looking like they're clicking yet at this point. A lot of other near misses by Hamilton again this week. Serbia, just a bit of the busier of the two teams, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. They had. In that heat, we're all professional footballers. They actually had, they went out there, they did what they could. They moved more, I think. They were definitely more aggressive on the ball.
Hamilton keeper Adrian Becic, after last week, where an unfortunate goal, we'll call it, that he let in on the 89th minute against Milton, where the free kick was taken just a bit too quickly. Now, it's a save you've got to have made, but I'm a former goalie. It's happened to me. It'll happen to everyone at some point. But a rebound for him this week. He has a very nice game and made a few big saves.
Yeah, I mean, a good goalkeeper doesn't become a bad goalkeeper overnight. I mean, that's just the bottom line.
Yeah.
When that unfortunate incident happened, he probably wished social media hadn't been invented.
Yeah, it was a rough one, unfortunately. We did have the instant replay of it. I will say that our cameraman missed it as well, though it happened that fast. But a good game by Becic to bounce back. Really impressed so far by Georgi Josic of Serbia. He had that crossbar that you were amazed by against Milton, then followed it up with a goal and that beautiful 30-yarder last week. He's been playing great, hasn't he?
Yeah, whenever he gets within 25 yards of the goal, normally you'd expect the coach to say basically, spread it out to the wings or whatever, but he's so on target at the moment that, he looks as though he can score every time he's close to goal.
What was the comment you made to me off air? He's got to ensure that left foot.
Actually both.
Both feet, the way he's been kicking it. Yeah,
he's ambidextrous.
Okay. Good stuff. Two more games to cover. We're going to get to those when we come back in just a moment. Welcome back to Jevova's CSL Primetime. Alex Bachivansky and Michael Hackett here in the studio discussing the last two games that took place last weekend. And while the big one, York Region trying for that undefeated season. Alas, it's not to be this year as they fall to Scarborough.
Yeah, that's such a tough act to follow when they did that previously, when they were unbeaten. It's you set the bar. And that's very few teams can repeat that.
Yeah, even with a lot of the same core that they had 2 years, it's so tough to do, isn't it? One of the toughest things in sports to do, to run the table.
And I'd rather win 11 than lose 11 on the trot. But the fact of the matter being is it's still tough to do it.
Yeah.
And I got to be frank, there were a lot of opportunities during the game, but
you know what, Hamiltonis for the most part for York Region, I mean, we see how many times he's bailed them out this year, how many incredible saves he made, and he did make a ton of great saves in this game as well. It's just unfortunate that that's the one that had to go in.
Exactly.
Yeah, back and forth game though. I mean, as opposed to the other two games that took place on the weekend, those were both on Friday night. This one was on Sunday night, and the weather wasn't quite as bad, so you saw a little bit more energy there, didn't you?
I think it's about 15 degrees cooler. Yeah. So, you're going to see a lot more movement. You're going to see a lot more running at the defence with the ball. You're going to see a lot more sort of movement off the ball as well. Yeah.
Full marks to Scarborough, who were missing new star defense Adrian Can, and as well as Mark Jankovic, who's the big man in back for them, 6'8", both players out. And, well, you know what, they played great without them and still managed to knock off York Region, so full marks to them. Okay, so you've really liked Kirill Dimitrov all year. And I remember the first game you went to and you came back and he commented, he said, where did this guy come from?
Yeah.
And I explained that he was a former Bulgarian first division professional. And your point was you could tell right away this guy.
You can. Yeah. It's just on the ball, and not just on the ball. It's the awareness. It's the creation of space. When you have people who have that sort of pedigree, you know, and it's not saying, and don't get me wrong here, I'm not saying the other players don't have this, but you can just see the fact that he can take people on, and I think he went past. It was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Went past like 5
when he
players.
Split the defense.
Yeah, went past like 5
a warm
players.
knife through butter is how I put it. And then unfortunately they couldn't convert the chance.
Yeah.
But he is, and as I mentioned before, this guy's as fast with the ball as he is without.
And he is.
Which is amazing. Yeah. And player owner, by the way, as well. So it's great to see Kirill, you know, getting involved in the ownership level as well as just as a player. Okay, so let's talk about Hikura in goal for Scarborough. He as well came up with some massive saves in this game.
Yeah.
York Region just nonstop. They come at you in waves. He had to have a big game, and he as well had a big one, didn't he?
Yeah, he had a great game.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he needed to dial it up when he needed to dial it up. And
so Brantford, Toronto Atomic. This was unfortunately a game that took place, as mentioned, on Friday night, so the energy level just a little bit lower for this one. But it was a 0-0 draw. I mean, how often do we get 0-0 draws these days? Not very often in the CSL. So it was, you could see the energy level just a little bit lower, not too many great chances in this one.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think a lot of the, it was a lot of long ball stuff. And, you know, I mean, sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't work, but...
Terry Dunfield, you got to look at Terry. Now you remember Terry from back in England, actually, don't you?
Terry came up through the Man City youth program. 74 appearances for Bury, the Shakers.
A team that you remember very well.
I
Shakers,
remember the Shakers, absolutely.
Yeah.
I know a couple of people who supported them, and good for them. But the fact of the matter being is he had 74 appearances for them, 61 appearances for Macclesfield, obviously Whitecaps, obviously TFC. Again, it's the awareness, it's the space that he creates. He can literally put his foot on the ball and slow the game down. And, you know, with that pedigree, that's what you want to see.
No goals on this day, obviously, no goals in the game, period. But Dunfield, you could just, the little plays that he made, he set up a good portion of their chances as well. So bringing it, one heck of a strike by Tolochko Osap from 26 yards out that hit the post. That was the best chance all game. Again, from well out there. There wasn't much going on from in close, but that would have been a heck of a strike if it had gone in.
Yes, I mean, there's been a few nearly post busters and bar busters in the last few weeks, and that was up there with them.
Rough stuff in the second half between the Brantford keeper, between Harris Wadzepi and Vasil Shupak. Rather interesting little play there. Now, was it warranted Shupak getting so upset?
No.
Yeah.
In essence, they just had like a downpour, a deluge before that happened. Basically, he aquaplaned into him from what I could see. I took a look at it a couple of times. I didn't see any intent. I really didn't. He might have clipped him. But you know what? Also, if a goalkeeper's coming out, hey, there's going to be some contact.
But Shupak ended up in the line of Wadzepi the way it was going. He actually slid along the turf. As we mentioned, he hydroplaned. It was so wet. It was sort of humorous afterwards, though, seeing the little chest bump there.
It's David and Goliath.
David and Goliath match up there with Wadzepi being about a head smaller and the little chest bump. And then, what was it, about a 9.2 by the Olympic judges on the dive there?
On the dive? You know, it was, I don't know what he thought he was going to get, but, you know, that's probably an Oscar nomination.
He sold it very well, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah. Thank you for filling in on short notice. Jason Thomas is back next week, folks. But Michael Hackett, thank you, sir.
It's a pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Good to see you.
You too. More CSL Primetime coming up in just a moment. Welcome back to Jevova CSL Primetime. Adis Sesic has been one of the top players in the CSL over the past few seasons. The Bosnian native brings a vast array of skills to the pitch, but he hasn't always had an easy go of things. Coming to a new country, learning a new language, and having to leave family back home, it's a familiar story for many of the foreign players in the league. But Sesic has adapted and is loving his new adopted home in Canada. Here's the story of Adis Sesic in this week's Player Spotlight, brought to you by Olympic Trophies, official trophy supplier to the Canadian Soccer League.
My name is Adis Sesic and I'm playing for Scarborough SC. This is my fifth year in a row in Canada. I was playing for SC Scarborough like 4 years in a row, and we won the championship in 2013. Now I'm playing for SC Scarborough and we got practices every day. I really like this team. Like, the coach is pretty much like Ricardo. He's a good coach and I learn a lot from him too. I'm 29-year-old guy and I'm still learning. I like to learn, I like to see new things, how it's going on the field. And Ricardo is a coach who can bring it on the field. I really feel like so proud to play here. Like, everybody accept me, like rest of my teammates. My guys who's playing with me, they're like we're like a family here, so I like to play here.
He's a great guy. He seems very serious and everything, but he's not. He's a joker. He likes, you know, we mess around with him and stuff, but he's a really good guy. He's a really good guy. Good, yeah. Of all the guys that are not from here, he's probably one of the best with his English. We have a few guys, it's just like, we have a great relationship, and I think we've said like 2 words to each other in the last 2 years.
Till this year, I was decided every time, because I got my family in Bosnia. I'm alone here, actually just playing soccer and that's it. During the summertime here, during the season, actually every year in November, I'm going back home in Bosnia. And I'm playing there, like, I was playing like 2 years in a row, top division, and then last year I was playing first division too. Yeah, I always decide to go back because of my family. That's the only reason I'm going back. I'm a person who's like got a lot of emotions like every second, and I love my family. I got only my mom. My dad passed away like 2006 when he was 46-year-old, and my sister like get married that time, and me and my mom, it was like just alone there. So that's she's the person I can't live without her, and of course my girlfriend comes now. I was get married like last year, and now I'm a happy person, so I bring her here to Canada too. Now we are together here, and then I feel like now in Canada I feel so like proud because I got somebody who's gonna take care about me, and I'm gonna take care about her. So yeah, she's here helping me every day. She's working too. But like every day, when she get back home and I get back home after practice and everything, I have a person who with who I can talk, and you know what I mean, change conversation and stuff. So it's pretty much like easier this year, like the easiest year in Canada, of course. So yeah, like I think I'm gonna stay in Canada like after this year, because this is the first year with my wife here, and I'm feeling like so nice here. When I was in Bosnia, they was calling me like, do you want to sign contract with SC Scarborough? And we was talking about it. I was like, okay, I'm gonna sign contract, but I want to hear like what team we have, like what guys we have. We was talk about it, and then like I was so excited when I was come here. Yeah, when I saw all these guys, like at the beginning I didn't feel like that, but when I met these guys, when I got a practice on them, like I was so excited and satisfied too, because these guys are like every single person like are professionals, like big professionals. There's a lot of skills players. So yeah, like I think this team this year we're gonna go like we can go all the way to the top, of course.
All right, and let's take a look now at the top 5 plays of the week. And you know you're hurting for highlights when you pick a shot off the goal post as one of them. Roman Sakno, this would have been beautiful. Alas, off the iron it rings. Number 4, the goalies dominated this week. Georgi Josic denied by Adrian Bacic, and then Miroslav Jovanovic out front. Oops. Whiffs on the perfect chance. Nice save though. Number 3, Imadikura of Scarborough showing off the quick reflexes to deny the point-blank York region header. Number 2, Adrian Bacic had a great game for Hamilton. Here he gets down to deny Milos Lobanovic, sweet save. And number 1, Kirill Dimitrov with the gorgeous strike here, but Emmanuel Ameltonis, even better save to deflect it over. And that was your CSL Play of the Week. And we've run out of time for this week. Just remember, though, you can always head to CanadianSoccerLeague.ca to get all your up-to-date league information. At CSL_soccer on Twitter and Jevova Canadian Soccer League on Facebook. Thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you next week.